Thanks for tuning in to Women Who Open Doors, a podcast that amplifies the voices of incredible women business leaders who are making a difference. I'm your host, Julie Cossack-Collins, owner and coach at Not Magic. Join us as we explore what's possible when we empower one another to dream big, live boldly, and pursue our personal and professional goals. Get ready to be inspired because together we're building a community that opens doors and changes lives. I am extremely thrilled today to welcome a new friend to our recording here for our podcast. Let me introduce our listeners to Patti Gorsky. Patti Gorsky is the president and CEO of Make-A-Wish Foundation and has been working to ensure all medically eligible children living with critical illnesses have their wishes granted. Patti works with her involved and dedicated board of directors, a 28-member staff across 3 offices in Wisconsin, and more than 400 trained volunteers statewide to make wishes come true. She and her husband are also an active volunteer wish granting team as well in their spare time. So we'll talk about spare time, Patti. But not a lot, right? But since Make-A-Wish Foundation was founded in 1984, more than 8,600 wish kids and their families can attest to the power of a wish. And this year is a big year for Patti. Earlier this year, Make-A-Wish Wisconsin granted its 8,000th wish, that's a mouthful, for Lulu, who we'll talk about soon, who wished to sing with an orchestra. Patti has also celebrated her 25th anniversary as CEO in May and recently announced her impending next chapter, we're not going to call it retirement, starting in Q1 of 2025. So again, Patti, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm honored and thrilled to have you.
I'm thrilled to be here, so thanks.
So, I just mentioned the 8,000th granted wish, which is an amazing, amazing milestone. And I watched Lulu's story, and to anyone that hasn't seen it on Fox 6 News here in the Milwaukee area, I would encourage you to Google it. It's a very moving story. But for those listeners who may not know everything about the work that Make-A-Wish does, can you kind of talk a little bit about what happens behind the scenes to make a wish come true?
Absolutely. I love sharing any opportunity to talk about Make-A-Wish and the power of a wish come true. Well, first of all, for those who are not as familiar with Make-A-Wish, we create life-changing wishes for children with critical illnesses. So a progressive, degenerative, or malignant condition. So suffice it to say, if you're eligible for a wish, it's not a good thing because you've gone through really, really dark and difficult times if you're deemed medically eligible for a wish. So we grant wishes for kids ages 2.5 to 18 and bring that hope, strength, and a joy, to the child and his or her family. So once a child is deemed medically eligible, we assign our wish granters to it, and then together with my team, they help create the wish. So in Lulu's case, she wanted to sing with an orchestra, and with her dreaming when she was in the hospital, she could barely breathe, and so it was her carrot, at the end of the stick, dangling out there, saying, "I've got to get stronger. I've got to be able to do this," because not only could she not breathe, I mean, you talk about singing, it's all about breath work. And so it was truly her motivation to get better and to get stronger. And then we went about creating a very cool experience.
Well, you just even use the word experience. Like in my mind, I thought of Make-A-Wish too, of it a one-time experience, but she had gone through some preparation. She had practiced with the orchestra. There were several stages to this wish.
Yes. We meet the child where they're at. And basically, Lulu's took a lot of preparation to get her to that point. And she was practicing. We reached out to our friends at the Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra. They created their orchestra of 100
Mhm.
young student musicians who then went to work over a long period of time because they had to learn these Broadway tunes that Lulu was then going to sing. And she
Mhm.
sang four amazing Broadway songs that were very near and dear to her. And we had a concert, 1,000 people strong at the
Wow.
Bradley Symphony Center. So it was a amazing, beautiful day, and talk about sharing the power of a wish with so many people who were touched with the hope, strength, and joy that the wish came true brought.
Yeah, just an amazing and just building of the community as well to support her and to let her showcase and make her dreams come true. It's just an extraordinary, extraordinary story. So, tell me about what it's like for you, because obviously are in it. And just tell us a little bit more about that feeling, that emotional power that even you get as you watch these children and your team work to grant the wishes.
I've been involved. Make a Wish is 40 years old this year. And so we were founded in Wisconsin in 1984, nationally in 1980. And I got involved. I used to work at TV6, Fox 6 now. And one of the fledgling little foundations I got involved with because of Chief Meteorologist Vince Candela. He got me involved. And so I've been involved for 35 of the 36
Wow.
um, of the 40 years. So it was a fledgling little foundation,
Yeah.
but it completely touched my heart. I was a volunteer for over 10 years before, just doing things that, funneling auction items to them, helping pull favors to grant a wish, making connections, that kind of thing. And, never in a million years knew that that's where my path would lead. And then to have the privilege of running this foundation for the past 25 years and the growth and the exponential growth to be able to reach. And now Lulu's was our 8,000th wish. We're at about 8,600 wishes strong.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
amazing.
just, yeah, it's just very powerful. You asked before, I said, it would be time to leave if I ever stopped crying. And the truth is, I have never stopped crying.
Yeah.
But I'm still retiring at some point or transitioning at some point to my next chapter. But it's so powerful no matter what the experience, if it's a child who wishes to go somewhere or to be something or to meet somebody or to have something, no matter what it is, they're all unique.
Mhm.
And it's a very powerful thing.
Yeah. Talk to us a little bit. You talked about the growth. I know that, reading through all the stats on Make-A-Wish Wisconsin here, you grew incredibly from a budget of 1 million to nearly 10 million. Great solid endowment fund and such. So to walk us through a little bit about, from a leadership perspective, what are all the things that you had to put in place to really kind of move the needle, to grant as many wishes as you have?
Well, my predecessor, uh, a wonderful woman, just was retiring, and I decided to throw my hat in the ring.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were 5 employees when I started,
Oh,
so I did everything, for
yeah.
other than like the medical eligibility piece and the real database pieces. We granted those wishes and did a lot of stuff, and then fundraising, and so there wasn't anything we couldn't do. It was a small but mighty team.
Mhm.
And we have obviously grown. We have 28 employees through 3 offices across the state of Wisconsin, and 22 right now member board. Together, the tentacles out in the communities all across the state are what help us not only build the brand and keep the Make a Wish mission alive all throughout the state, but really help bring in the funds that we need in order to grant all these wishes.
Well, fundraising obviously a key component of nonprofit work, obviously. So, what have been some of the tricks of the trade that you could share
Mhm.
with some of our other listeners who might be even just running a small nonprofit in their community? What are some of the tricks of the trade?
Well, having been a journalism major and coming out of, the powerful medium of television, storytelling. All nonprofits, they have important missions and beautiful missions to share. Become good storytellers. And once you tell those stories, I can't say the rest will just happen because it doesn't. There's a lot of sweat equity in there, but but it helps to be able to share the mission, to be able to communicate that well and among and many different avenues of that. And then with that, we became, just really good fundraisers, have event heavy, like a lot of nonprofits, which are, just time intensive, but they help at the most basic levels bring in people to the mission so that people get to experience it and taste a little bit about the stories that we're sharing, and so that helped us grow and then grow truly statewide. We have presence, you know, in all of the counties in some way, shape, or form because we serve children where they live, no matter where they live in the state of
Mhm.
Wisconsin.
As you were building it then, what were some of the biggest, like, challenges that you faced along the road to get to the growth you were at?
Well, when Make a Wish was founded in 1984, I mean, it's called Make a Wish Wisconsin. And we were very southeastern Wisconsin centric, and I still more than, but we are truly a statewide agency now. We are serving kids all throughout the state of Wisconsin. We have, boots on the ground in terms of volunteers all throughout the state. And we have medical referral sources. So if they're seeing kids in the hospitals, in any part of the state or in clinics, in health clinics in any part of the state, they know about us now. So they know to refer the kids. So kids aren't falling through the cracks, which if
Mhm.
these kids are medically eligible, and as I said, they're dealing with really tough and awful things, they need a wish. They need their wish to happen so that they can focus on the psychological parts of getting better, and not just all the pokes and prods and surgeries and doctor's visits and everything like that. They need the psychological medicine of what a wish represents.
Mhm. That's fantastic. For a very short period of my career, I was leading this little Cedarburg Education Foundation. So shout out to my peeps in that. But I would tell you, it was a really big learning experience for me, and we didn't have as many volunteers. So, talk me through what you learned leading an organization to that where today you have 400 trained volunteers. That's different than running a for-profit business of people that work for you on payroll. What lessons can you give to those individuals to running nonprofits or even with people running businesses on how different it is to lead volunteers?
Well, I mean, one of the joys of Make Wish, and there are many, is that these are really good people wanting to make a difference in the lives of children. They wouldn't be involved. They wouldn't take their time. They wouldn't put their energy, their time, their talents, or their treasures into this. So it's just beautiful to be around really good people who care and want to make a difference, and that it is truly one of the biggest joys. Um, but a lot of hurting people and cats, all kinds of things. Everybody has different ideas. We are part of a national organization. It's a federated model, so we are one of 58 chapters across the United States and territories, and as part of that, there are performance standards and guidelines of
Mm,
which we adhere and operate, and they are some strict and formidable guidelines. So you can't just let anybody do whatever they want.
sure.
Um, and so there's a lot of training that's involved and that type of thing. But
Mhm.
once they sign on, and especially for those volunteers who are wish granting volunteers, the liaisons, out in the communities between my staff and the families. Um, they're the ones that create the magic. They're the ones, the boots on the ground. They're the ones that are meeting the kids and communicating to us what their one true wish will be, and all that heartfelt dreaming that they get to do. And so it is a really special volunteer project.
Mhm.
And I can tell you that, and sometimes it's really tough because these kids are going through tough things, and there's a burnout factor in it for volunteers,
Yeah.
especially because it's tough. There's a
Yeah.
grief component sometimes,
Yes.
and it can be really tough. It's not for everybody to be able to handle that, but when it is, it's magical.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of the word magic, you shared with us your greatest professional accomplishment is serving as Wisconsin's fairy godmother. So that is magical, and I
Mhm.
love that piece. So, what does that mean to you?
Being Wisconsin's fairy godmother is just the best thing, but it wasn't something that I had aspired to or dreamed about. I had been involved in so many nonprofit organizations, and I found, you learn about yourself as you mature, and that I am truly a mission driven person, and I want to make a difference. And the mission of Make a Wish, to make a difference in the lives of kids, is just um, awe inspiring and really humbling. Like I said, the good people with whom I get to work day in and day out is just, it's a tough world out there,
Yeah.
and I I get to combat that with the beauty of fulfilling mission, and that's true of many nonprofits. And so, in that world, in that sphere, I couldn't be more grateful or lucky to be able to do this life affirming work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super cool. I just love the name Fairy Godmother, by the way. Just think that's super cool.
Yeah, not bouncing around in a tutu or anytime soon, but I do have a bunch of magic wands.
Do you?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. That's super cool. So, we talked a little bit about advice, but what this podcast is really about. I have so many women that say, Julia couldn't do what you're doing, or those women that you're interviewing, and I always say, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Sometimes we're our biggest critic in our minds, but what's your advice for women that are looking to take a leap? You admitted you weren't. This wasn't in the plan, but what's your advice for women to really that we're looking to take the leap in terms of leadership, running a board, running a nonprofit, running an organization? What's your advice to them?
Well, I would say this from early on in my career, and I think this is part of why I advanced, is that I always raised my hand.
Mm,
So I would do what was asked, and I would do it well, and then I would do more, or I would ask for different projects, or I would stretch, get comfortable in being uncomfortable, and that's how you learn. And I would tell you that's the best board member and the best staff member that I have, and it's people who just, not that they have to work a zillion more hours or things like that, but just that real can-do attitude, and positivity of, like, figure it out, like, "Oh, okay, I wanna do this, that, and the other, and I wanna learn this, and how can I have a professional development opportunity by doing this?" And, that kind of thing. And I would say that's the absolute number one. Do your job and do it well, and then do some more.
mhm.
And especially taking on volunteer projects. I mean, like I said, I was very involved in other nonprofits. I had never worked for a nonprofit, but I had quite a bit of experience volunteering and doing board work and other things. So I learned a lot about governance and, the whole fiduciary responsibility pieces. So when I came in, I was a little bit of fish out of water, but not a lot.
Yeah,
Enough that I could figure it all out. And I started at a foundation that was teeny. It was, 5 employees and, just less than $1 million budget. I coming in at a $10 million, machine, it's way different. It would
Mhm.
be way different than how I started. But
Yeah.
you got to start. We all come in complete, so we all have to start somewhere, and that's how you learn. And so, raise your hand.
Yeah. Well, just like you said, you were part of the first 5 too, and, you're chief bottle washer at that point as well, and, doing lots of hats, lots of things, different things to do. So we talked about you, but tell me a little bit. You don't have to name names, but talk to me about mentors in your life. If you want to give them a shout out, you
I,
can. But because there may be so many, sometimes people say there's so many, Julie. But talk to me about how mentors have really impacted your journey as well.
Oh, I've had so many, certainly starting with my parents who were just active volunteers in our community in their own ways and areas of interest. But I had people. My first boss, I worked in government, was Bill O'Donnell, William F. O'Donnell, the former county executive, Milwaukee County executive, and he gave me a chance, and I learned just the integrity of a public servant and that type of thing. He was a wonderful, wonderful man. But I had mentors so fortunate that believed in myself, before I believed in myself. They believed in me, and so they gave me the confidence to like keep going and keep moving and trying and that kind of thing. I don't know. I'm dating myself, but Bill Jans, he was a columnist for the Milwaukee Sentinel for many, many years. A wonderful writer, a wonderful man, and he and his wife Bernie are dear friends and mentors. And Bernie was one of my mentors as well. Took me under my wing when I was her wing when I was about 22 or 23 years old is when I met her,
Mhm.
and to this day I am with her, and just so many really dear people, including the former CEO of Make a Wish, Judy Schwerm, and it's just. I mean, you name it, I've been blessed. So many board members have become mentors as well. Just really, really caring people. They're really busy in their own right. They have
Sure.
good careers, and then they choose to step up and be involved. My current board chair, Joe Imhoff, is just a wonderful example of a professional who really cares and wants to make a difference, and has helped me in my leadership capabilities for
Mhm.
many years.
That's awesome. Yeah, and mentors have packed all of us along the way, and so, like I said, sometimes too many to mention. But thank you for those shout outs to those individuals. So, you've been awarded several different awards: Milwaukee Business Journal's Women of Influence Award, the Tempo Mentor Award, the Donald Driver Driven to Achieve Award. But you're super humble, Patty. That's why I love that you're on with us. But talk to us about this legacy that you're really leaving for Make a Wish. What are you most proud of in terms of the legacy that you're going to leave?
Thank you for allowing me to share that, because it's a different stage of life, kind of going
Yeah.
through the next chapter, and just kind of figuring that next chapter out. But the legacy is all about the people. So it's not only certainly the Wish children and their families whose lives we've touched, but the team I've been able to build over many years, and the employees. I've been blessed with employees that with a lot of longevity here on my team, and you know, and and then even for some of the newer ones as we've grown, just to have built a team and to have really had an influence on the professional development of so many
Mhm.
young and not so young, chronologically speaking, professionals, and really and how to conduct oneself in business, that type of thing. So that is, it's all about the people. So that's
Mhm.
my most proud um, moments. But in addition to that, being part of a national organization and even a global foundation has allowed me to reach many, many people. And not only do we take care of Wisconsin kids, but when we are able, we try to reach out and help those like in chapters of need and things like that. So basically, the bottom line is, a child needs a wish, and oftentimes these kids don't have the luxury of waiting for their wishes to be granted. And
Mhm.
so Wisconsin has done such a good job. Little old Wisconsin in the great Midwest. And
Yeah.
here we are stepping up to help others. And that isn't that what life is all about? Isn't that what, take care of your own and then help others? And that that's a legacy piece I am incredibly proud of.
You should be. I mean, we read that Wisconsin was one of the, top chapters in the nation, and you're right, that is who we are in Wisconsin. But congratulations on that honor too, because that is a beautiful, beautiful legacy to give. Not just to your team, but to people that are impacted. So, we talked about not using the word retirement,
Yeah.
like transition, next chapter, whatever it is. What are some of the things that made you decide? How did that's a process from I'm not there
Oh,
yet, but I'm getting there. So teach me a little bit of thing, Patty. What's the process that you went to decide, I think it's time for that next step for me.
oh, I mean, it's been years process. You think about it, and I mean, walking away from Make-A-Wish is not an easy thing, and
Mhm.
I mean, it is so validating and beautiful, and the 60 plus hours a week for. I've had almost a 50-year career, so I
Sure.
mean, we're talking, and I've been hard charging for that many years. So I would tell you just a little break. You
Mhm.
emotionally, mentally think about that. Um, but I also view it as I've had my turn. And
Mm.
and I've picked a milestone year to do all of this.
Mhm.
40th birthday, 8,000th wish, my 25th.
Yeah,
And I could have stayed longer.
sure.
I love it. I mean, I'm one of those lucky people who isn't dying to get out and take, and like quit their
Sure,
job.
sure.
That is not at all it. But I also view it as I've had my turn. It's been an
Mhm.
amazing turn, and it's time for somebody else to have this opportunity because it is a beautiful, great opportunity.
Mhm.
And so, it's kind of like with life, the generational pieces of movement, and that it all made sense. And I'm blessed too because I have three darling grandchildren
I was
now,
just gonna
and
ask.
yeah,
Yep.
4, 3, and 8 months. And
Yeah.
so, when you work as much as I work and you're on the
Mhm.
road all across the state all the time, you don't get much time to spend with
Mhm.
family. And so that piece help kind of make that decision that
Yeah.
maybe I do want a little break.
Yeah. Little break. What are some of the other hopes and dreams you have for this next chapter?
Um, oh, I'll do volunteer work. I'll be with the grandkids. My husband and I are going to travel. Always stay on as a wish granting volunteer,
Mhm.
if they'll have me. um,
I'm pretty sure you have an in, Patty. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, so I mean, those are definitely wonderful things. The usual. I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to take better care of myself. Because who has time when you're like running from meeting to meeting to meeting, and
Right.
and the night events and things like that. So that little bit of catching your breath, and then who knows, I may be cropping up doing something else somewhere. But as far as a real traditional full time hard charging career, that part of me will be done.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm. What do you like to do for fun, Patty, when you're not, working a lot of hours as hard charger? What's fun for you?
I like to garden. I like to be with my friends. I like Zumba.
Do you really?
Like dance party. Yeah, absolutely. It's my favorite.
Fantastic.
It's my favorite.
That's cool.
Yeah, my husband and I like biking, so I've got lots. I mean, honestly, I need to clean my closets. I need, I need to do stuff like that. I would love to bake. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna, things like that. But, just not the running at quite the intensity is what I'm looking forward to. Let's see if I'm really looking forward to that once I'm actually doing it. Because I mean, I've been known to take a few days off and going, okay, going back to work. I work in half days while I'm taking those few days off. So let's see if I can even do this successfully.
Yeah. I imagine that'll be a process to work through. I imagine.
Yeah.
As a fellow hard charger, I know that would be a process for me at least to walk through.
I don't want to be a transition fail. So let's see. Let's see if I can do this.
I'm pretty sure, Patty, that you will be just fine.
I'll coach you, Julie, when it's time.
All the faith in the world, all the faith in the world. Well, you have just been so fabulous to have on the podcast, and I'm so happy for you to take this next step. And thank you for all of the dedication and all of the impact that you've made with your team. I know it's not just by one. So we in Wisconsin here, and obviously across the nation, thank you for all of your service to, but for people, can you give me the website address to, again, if people want to help out, want to volunteer for Make-A-Wish, so they know where to find you?
www.wish.org/Wisconsin.
Yep. Awesome. Well, we'll make sure that that's in the social post too, so people can catch that. So, but thank you.
We want you.
Well, thank you so much again for all your time today. It's been an honor. So, and we wish you the best, but we'll keep in touch for sure.
Thank you. Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Patty.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you for joining us on Women Who Open Doors. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we have. Do you know an incredible woman business leader who's opening doors, making an impact, and lifting others up? We'd love to feature her story. Recommend a guest by emailing our producer, Hannah, at hchurch@not-magic.com. And please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to help us share these amazing stories. And until next time, keep dreaming big, living boldly, and opening doors for others.